Hello, my name is Heidi DeMel, and this is my change project. So, after kind of thinking about what I would change at St. Thomas University if I could, I kind of asked my roommate to give me some ideas, kind of let me know her opinions on it, what she would change basically. And we had come up with two options. We had kind of narrowed it down. So, we had come up with the housing at St. Thomas, and also the food in the cafeteria, Einstein's, and the Rat. And after kind of weighing them both out, kind of pros and cons about both of them a little bit, we had decided to go with the housing I decided to go with the housing because there's a few reasons on why. So the first reason would be all of the halls, well, not all of them, but I think a few of them are very old and very cheap. I think that St. Thomas could definitely tear them down and just redo them, or even renovate them, even just something to make them not look so run down, if that makes sense, to put that in the easiest way. But okay, so every time that we would get a hurricane or it would pour down rain, which was a lot in Florida, our ceiling would leak. So we had it fixed once. The maintenance guys kind of came in and painted over the ceiling, and then it happened again, and they didn't do anything about it. And then the third time that our ceiling leaked was the absolute worst time, because not only was it leaking directly over my bed, was it also had run across the room and was leaking on the other side of my side of the room. So it was kind of leaking in two different spots at the same time. So we had to I had to move my bed out of the way, and we had to put my trash can and my roommate's trash can under the leaks so they could catch the water. So we called our RA, and she came in and she looked at it. And I think you'll be able to see this picture. As you can see, there's kind of that little bubble in the roof. I really hope you can see that. There's a bubble in the roof, and my bed is directly under this, and that's where it would leak and stuff. That's where pieces of this, I would wake up in the middle of the night and the ceiling would be literally leaking on me. One time there was a piece of ceiling that literally landed on my face, landed on my cheek while I was sleeping. And I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? And so basically the ceiling would leak, and it would fall on my sheets, it would fall on my comforter, it would fall on the windowsill, and it also fell. I had my speaker on the windowsill, and it completely the ceiling leaked right on it. And the next morning when I woke up, I tried to turn on the speaker and it wouldn't even turn on. Pieces of wet ceiling had gone into the speaker and just completely ruined it. It completely just ruined my speaker. And I'd had that speaker for a good while, but I mean, it wasn't broken or anything. I planned on keeping it for a while, but I couldn't. I ended up throwing it away. And so that's why I think that the housing is a big issue. And so also, after our RA came in and she looked at it, she told us, okay, I'm going to put in a work order, but this time, they're going to fix it. So pack up all of your stuff. It's going to take 3 to 4 weeks. Just pack up all of your stuff. I'm going to put y'all in different rooms. So at first we were like, okay, that's cool. They're finally going to fix it. But when we found out when we started thinking about it, we have to pack up everything we own. I mean, we have to pack up everything. And we have to basically we have to move in with new people. And then we have to basically pack up all our stuff again in a few weeks to go home for break. And after you've already lived with someone for 2 to 3 months, you kind of just become really close with them. You guys kind of grow a bond. And that's what me and my roommate did. And we did not want to leave each other. We were so upset about it. I personally did not want to go live with the people that she was trying to put me with, because I felt very uncomfortable with it. And my roommate didn't want to go stay with the girl she was going to end up moving in with, because we didn't want to leave each other. We didn't want to have to be, new, make new roommates, because those other roommates were already close, and you would just kind of be the new girl. Nobody wanted to deal with that mid-semester. So after an hour or two of her trying to find us a room where we could stay together, she had finally found one at University Inn, and we were so excited. We were so happy. We were like, yes, we get to live together. It's gonna be so much fun. So we packed up all of our stuff, spent the whole day moving it to our new dorm. Whole day. I mean, countless trips on the golf cart. I mean, it was awful. Countless trips of just walking back and forth with suitcases and trash bags and just boxes of all of our stuff. It took the whole day, and we just kind of, once we got to University Inn, the room, our new room, we kind of just like left everything where it was, just kind of just put it all in the middle of the floor because we were just so exhausted. We ended up missing all of our classes that day. We couldn't do any work. We couldn't do anything. And so it was a lot. It took a lot of work physically, mentally, packing up and moving. And when we got into the room and we kind of like sat down and we're like talking about how we're going to redo it, decorate it, all that, we kind of just ended up hating the room. I mean, it was awful. We felt like we were in a mental asylum or prison. It was just awful because the walls were like bricks. It smelled very mildewy. Did not smell good. And it just, the silence and just, it was awful. You could hear yourself think, you could hear everything. We did not want to move in there. We did not feel comfortable. We just felt so depressed just sitting in the room. And so that night, neither one of us wanted to sleep in there. So we went back to our old room, and one of our roommates was gone. So my roommate slept in her bed. And we have a little 2-seater couch that's not big at all. It's not big. And it's in our common room, and I kind of just ended up sleeping on that. I mean, I was curled up in a ball, and my legs were, when I wasn't curled up in a ball, my legs were hanging off the end of the couch. So it was awful. I woke up with back pains. My neck was hurting. It was awful. So that we basically just kind of waited for the maintenance guys to fix our room, and we just kind of would bring stuff back from University Inn little by little. I mean, overnight bags, a change of clothes. But it was really difficult because it was hard living in 2 places at once and trying to run back and forth. Like, oh my gosh, I left this in that room, but I'm in the middle of a class right now. I can't get it. It was awful. And then her and I both have jobs. So that also took a big mental toll on us, because plus when you have to juggle up like school and work and trying to figure out which of your stuff is here and there, and it was awful. And another thing was the maintenance guys did not speak English like at all, so it was very hard to communicate with them and understand them. And it was a very frustrating experience, because they would say, oh yeah, like we'll finish it today, so you can move back in. So we would be like, yes, awesome, that's amazing. And then we would come back at like 6 o'clock, and they would say, oh no, sorry, like we can't because of this reason. And it was a very frustrating process, basically. And so that's why I think that this needs to be fixed. So I think how it would benefit students, not just me, but all students on campus, everyone else, was if we renovate. Okay, personally, I think that your home, the place where you live, and the place where you go after a long day of school or work or anything, home is the place where you're supposed to feel the safest. It's the place where you're supposed to just, oh yes, I finally get to go home. I get to be in my own home. I get to do whatever I want. It's your shelter, and when you're not happy in the place that you live, it's not fun. You're not going to have any fun with life. And so I think that when where you live is not so depressing, you just enjoy it. You like being home. I love my old dorm room, but I hated the new one. It made me feel like I was trapped, it was awful. So I think that when you feel more at home, you feel happier. Your heart feels whole, and it makes the transformation into college a lot easier. Coming from Texas, I was very scared. I was very scared to come up here. I didn't know anybody. I had to live with strangers that I'd never met before. So, we'd be trapped the 4 of us would be in a small little dorm room. So, it's a big transition to go from your parents' house and your parents' rules to just no parental supervision and living with other teenagers in a small little space. So I think that when you're comfortable somewhere, it makes a transition a lot better. and it would make St. Thomas University look nicer as a whole. It will just, pictures will look nice. It will make students want to come here, because on tours and stuff, when they look at all the halls, they kind of get a feel for it, and they're kind of like, oh, okay, so this hall doesn't look that nice, and they had issues with this hall. I think it'll just, when students come on visits or stuff, or they look on the website at the pictures of the halls, I think that it'll make the St. Thomas look a lot better. So the budget and how we solve it, I think that I think that either an auction or a fundraiser to kind of show, to show why we need to renovate the halls, why it needs to be fixed. I think that a fundraiser and auction to at least raise $20,000. I mean, I can imagine it's not cheap to completely build a whole new dorm hall, but I think that it would definitely be worth it. And yeah, that's my change.